When working with Joomla, some people choose to build their websites locally and then move those websites to a web host for launch. Other people build the site directly on the web host. Which is best? Of course, it depends. Here are some guidelines in choosing which works best for you. When you run Joomla locally, there are a few advantages. First of all, no one sees the site before you're done, so you can make as many mistakes as you want, as often as you want. There are no web hosting fees until you're ready to launch. So if the site takes you many months to build, you're not paying web hosting fees in the process of building the website. And of course, there's no internet involved with running the website. You can run MAMP or WAMP on your local machine without internet access. And that's really handy if you're working remotely or if you're on an airplane. However, there are several disadvantages to running Joomla locally as well. First of all, no one sees the site before you're done. So if you're going the wrong direction, your client can't intervene earlier in the process. It also means that any of your collaborators, think about designers and engineers, content specialists, search engine optimization specialists, or anybody else who needs to see this website, they're not going to see it until it's completely done, unless they come over and visit you in person and take a look at your computer. So that can be a real downside to this. And finally, once you finish building your website on your local computer, you do have to move it to your web host, and then of course test to make sure that the site transferred correctly. I'll be covering how to transfer the website from your local computer to your web host much later in this course, but it is an extra step that you wouldn't have to do if you built directly on the web host. As far as advantages to running Joomla directly on the web host and working there, first of all, you don't have to install MAMP or WAMP. You install Joomla one time and won't have to move the website later. Typically, your web host is going to give you a temporary website address, a temporary URL, where you can go to see the website, and you have to know that URL in order to view the website until you transfer your domain name to point to the website. You can also run Joomla in something called offline mode, which again I'll cover much later in this particular course, which will make sure that your site is hidden behind a password so that not just anybody can see the website while it's under construction. A final advantage to running Joomla locally on your web host is that your client can see what you're doing while you build the website, as can all of your collaborators. However, there's several disadvantages to running Joomla on a web host. First of all, you're going to pay for that hosting while you're developing the website. And if you wind up with a 6-month web development cycle, well, you're going to be paying for hosting for 6 months while the site's under construction. You run the risk of someone seeing the site before you're done who shouldn't see the site. But if you do use the password protection that I just talked about, that will eliminate this problem for you. Finally, you do have to have an internet connection to work on the website. And if that internet connection is slow or non-existent, it's going to be really painful to try to get any work done at all. So what's best for you? Well, if you're the only person building a website and you're the only person you have to make happy while you're building that website, say you're building a personal website, building the site locally makes great sense. If you only have a dial-up internet connection because you live in, remote southern Vermont like many of my friends, you might also want to consider building your websites locally. However, if you're going to have a client and you're going to have people helping you with this website, you might want to consider building directly on a web host. Personally, I build all of my websites on a web host because I am always working with distant collaborators and clients. For the purposes of this training video, however, I will be building the website locally. That way, if you're following along with me and with the exercise files, we've standardized everything as much as possible. Web hosts are all different, so it's hard to train you how to use a specific web host out there. However, if you do follow along with me using WAMP or MAMP, and use the exercise files in this course, everything is standardized and you should come out with exactly the same results that I do here in the video, which is why we offer exercise files.